Leo had lived alone in the Thornwood forest for 7 years. The tall pines were his only companions, their whispers more honest than any human conversation he'd endured back in the settlements. He preferred it that way, just him, his axe, and the endless rhythm of chopping wood. The traders came through twice a year, their hover carts loaded with supplies and gossip from the outer colonies. Leo usually ignored them, but this time, something made him pause. A cloth sack writhed on the back of a merchant's cart, and muffled sounds came from within. "What's in the sack?" Leo asked, his voice rough from disuse. The merchant, a Voltarian with purple skin and too many teeth, grinned. "Goblin slave. Caught her raiding supply depots on Kepler 442b. She's vicious but trainable. 200 credits and she's yours." Leo shouldn't have cared. He didn't need company, didn't want it. But something about the desperate sounds from that sack tugged at a part of him he thought he'd buried. Maybe it was the loneliness finally getting to him. Or maybe it was the memory of his own captivity during the war. 150, he said. "Deal." The merchant dumped the sack at Leo's feet and sped off before the human could change his mind. Leo stared at the writhing bundle for a long moment, then carefully loosened the ties. What emerged wasn't a goblin. She was human. Unmistakably, impossibly human. Wild auburn hair fell around a dirt-streaked face and bright green eyes blazed with fury and fear. She couldn't have been more than 20 standard years old. She wore tattered clothes that might have once been a colony jumpsuit, and her hands were bound with plasma cuffs that glowed an angry red. "You're not a goblin," Leo said stupidly. "Brilliant observation," she spat, scrambling backward. "Are you going to kill me, or can we skip to the part where I escape?" Leo held up his hands. "I'm not going to hurt you. What's your name?" She studied him with suspicious eyes, clearly weighing her options. "Lisa. Not that it matters, you paid for a slave, didn't you?" "That's what I am now, property." The word tasted like ash in Leo's mouth. He'd seen slavery in a dozen star systems, watched entire species subjugated by the Galactic Consortium. Humanity had fought a bloody war for independence, and here was one of their own, sold like livestock. "You're not property," he said firmly. He pulled a plasma cutter from his belt, and Lisa flinched. "Easy. I'm just cutting those cuffs." The cuffs fell away with a hiss of released energy. Lisa rubbed her wrists, still watching him like a cornered animal. "Why?" "Because I'm not a slaver." Leo turned toward his cabin. "You hungry?" Inside, over a meal of synth protein and real vegetables from his garden, a luxury this far from civilization, Lisa's story emerged in fits and starts. She'd been part of a colony ship headed for the Andromeda staging area when pirates attacked. Most colonists were killed. The survivors were sold across the galaxy, their human identity concealed or ignored by buyers who didn't care to look closely. "I've been passed between 7 owners in 2 years," she said, her voice hollow. "The last one liked to hurt me, so I fought back, stole what I could, and ran. They labeled me a goblin because humans fetch higher prices, and they didn't want to pay bounty hunters." "Easier to sell me cheap as something else." Leo felt rage kindle in his chest, old familiar rage from the war. "The Consortium allows this?" "The Consortium looks the other way when it's convenient." Lisa met his eyes. "So what now? You're going to let me go? Just like that? You can stay if you want. I've got space and the work is honest. Or I can take you to the nearest human settlement when the traders come back through." "Why would you help me?" Leo was quiet for a moment, memories of plasma fire and screaming ships flickering through his mind. "During the war, I was captured by a Krellian dreadnought. Spent 3 months in their brig before a rescue team found me. Every day I wondered if anyone would come, if anyone cared." He looked at her. "Someone did. I figure I owe that forward." Lisa's defenses cracked just slightly. "You were military?" "Scout division. Saw things no one should see. Did things I'm not proud of." He stood, clearing the plates. "The guest room is yours if you want it. No strings, no obligations. In the morning, you decide what happens next." That night, Leo lay awake, listening to the forest and the unfamiliar sound of another person breathing in his home. He wondered if he'd made a mistake, if his solitude had been safer than this complicated kindness. Dawn came cold and clear. Leo found Lisa already outside, examining his logging equipment with professional interest. "I worked maintenance on the colony ship," she said without preamble. "I know my way around machinery. If you're willing to teach me the logging business, I'll stay. For now." "For now," Leo agreed. The weeks that followed developed a rhythm. Lisa proved quick and capable, her small frame hiding surprising strength. She asked questions constantly, absorbing knowledge like a sponge. Leo found himself talking, more than he had in years, explaining not just the work but the forest itself. Which trees were ready for harvest, how to read the weather in the alien sky, the strange local wildlife that wasn't quite Earth standard despite terraforming efforts. One evening, as they sat on the cabin porch watching the binary sunset paint the sky in purple and gold, Lisa spoke quietly. "You know what the galaxy thinks of humans? That we're too aggressive, too emotional, too chaotic. They think we're weak," she corrected. "Soft, easy to break and exploit. That's why slavery still exists for us out here on the fringe. They think we'll just accept it." Leo nodded slowly. "And what do you think?" Lisa's smile was sharp as broken glass. "I think they haven't been paying attention. I think every human they've enslaved, every colony they've raided, every indignity they've heaped on us, they're building something they don't understand. Rage, unity, purpose." She looked at him. "You saved me because someone saved you. That's how we work. We remember, we repay, and eventually we rise." HFY, Leo murmured, the old war cry. Humanity. Yeah, exactly. Lisa stood, stretching. "The traders come through in 2 weeks, right?" "That's right." "Good. I want to send messages to every human settlement in 3 sectors. There are others like me out there, Leo. Humans being sold, traded, forgotten. If we can find them, help them." She trailed off, then grinned fiercely. "The consortium thinks we're scattered and beaten. Let's prove them wrong." Leo felt something stir in his chest, something he thought he'd lost in the war. Hope, purpose, connection. "You know," he said slowly, "a solitary lumberjack probably can't change the galaxy, but maybe 2 people could start something." Lisa extended her hand. "Partners?" Leo shook it firmly. "Partners." The forest whispered around them, and for the first time in 7 years, Leo didn't feel alone. The galaxy had tried to break them both, had tried to erase their humanity and reduce them to commodities. It had failed. And that, Leo thought as he looked at Lisa's determined face, was the most human thing of all. The refusal to stay broken, the audacity to hope, and the stubborn insistence on lifting others even when you'd barely survived yourself. The consortium would learn eventually. Humanity wasn't just surviving out here on the fringe, they were organizing,